Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another breakfast with Blaha. And today I'm having chicken breast, rice, stir-fried vegetables, and guacamole. Probably the most complicated thing I think I've ever eaten on camera. I can't even say all that. Let's talk a little bit though about training to failure, and why I think training to failure is killing your gains. Now, it's kind of funny that we even need to have this conversation because in the serious strength world, strength and conditioning world, evidence-based training world, uh, this is almost not a topic, right? It really isn't. It's only due to the bodybuilding culture that it even exists. And again, we get to a point where if you use enough stuff, recovery can get so high that it doesn't matter. Like the negatives versus positives of it just largely go away at a certain point. But for everyone else, drug-free people, conservative users, they need to look a little closer at the literature. And when it comes to strength, this is still going to matter, right? We're talking, if you're going to talk purely hypertrophy on the other one. But from a strength perspective, the research is overwhelming on this. And keep in mind, guys, a lot of these studies that we're talking about that are out there, these are often done on actual athletes, not on novices, untrained people. All right, there's way too many hypertrophy studies on untrained people. It's almost a waste of grant dollars at this point. It really is. It's people wasting grant money. We already understand this. We already know how to get novices big. It's not that hard. That first 15 pounds of muscle doesn't require a whole hell of a lot of knowledge. So, what we have with athletes and strength athletes in general is that training to failure, even with heavy sets, we know produces less strength. Like this isn't debated. Every top strength coach in the world knows this. People who train everyone who breaks world records in every strength sport knows this. This is understood anecdotally. It's understood anecdotally, especially your big exercises. Some of them may do small exercises to failure. None of them do big exercises. Very few world record holders do. People who train them don't. And again, I don't care what strength sport we're talking about. You look at any of them. The research shows pretty consistently training to failure can impede strength. It can absolutely impede strength. So for strength purposes, and again, keeping in mind we're talking about the strength end after you've maximized hypertrophy. Because hypertrophy is required for strength. Hypertrophy raises your strength ceiling. I'm a big proponent of that. I do a ton of hypertrophy work. I prescribe it to my lifters and athletes. So again, we're looking at this from the context that we know we need to get big to get strong. But still, when it comes to the strength end, training to failure seems to hurt strength gains. And this is numerous studies. Numerous studies show this. What about hypertrophy though? It's where there's some debate. And there's only a debate in that because of, again, the bros out there. You look at the literature, we generally find training to failure has no benefits to hypertrophy. It has no benefits to hypertrophy. Whether it hurts hypertrophy really depends upon the individual study, depends on the training volumes, how they're measuring failure. Some of the data that's collected in a lot of these studies is not particularly good, which makes it a little difficult to sift through. It makes it difficult to sift through, but you'll find the general overall consensus. Again, especially if you look at people like Greg Nuckols, and I don't like Greg personally, but I like his page. Again, something that people need to learn how to do to say, hey, I don't like someone, but they still do some good work. See how easy it is to do that? I don't like them as a human being. I don't like their politics, but they still say some smart things. See, if you think like that, you'll learn things. You will benefit yourself in life greatly to think in that manner. Don't handicap yourself with personal thoughts about someone. Not good. It'll hold you back in life. But, he's got some pretty good reviews and write-ups, and generally we lean in the direction of training to failure either has no benefit for hypertrophy, or when it starts limiting training volume, it can impede hypertrophy a little bit. And the reason is it's like you just can't do as many total effective reps. Your training tonnage is going to go down when you train to failure versus leaving some reps in reserve. It really will. In other words, you take your 12 or 13 rep max, you're going to be able to do a lot more sets of 10 with it than if you go to failure. Right? You go to failure, you're going to get one real good set. You're going to start losing reps real fast. By the third set, you're going to be so far down the effective rep range that you may not be stimulating much muscle growth at all. All right, our quality volume gets real low. You start leaving 3 reps in reserve, you can do 5 sets of 10. You can do a second exercise with 5 sets of 10. Right? We can do 10 quality sets for a muscle. Okay. Not only can we do that, stimulate really good muscle growth, really good fatigue, a lot of movement pattern practice. What else do we get? It doesn't beat us up. That's the other thing. That's what we come to also is the recovery end. Come to also injuries. Training to failure causes higher injuries. Get more overuse. We are more beat up. We recover slower. When you get people who say silly things like, well, I don't care if it beats me up more because I'm tough and I'll sacrifice to win, or whatever, 5%, but it's not giving you any gains. Okay? I could understand someone saying, hey, if I do something and it causes me excruciating pain my entire life, but it gives me 5% more progress, I'll accept excruciating pain my entire life. That hardcore mentality. That would be, sacrificing to win. Here's the issue. It doesn't, though. So if you're doing it for nothing, that's just stupid. And the evidence just isn't there. Training to failure doesn't seem to cause additional muscle growth over leaving a couple reps in the tank. It just doesn't. And even when they look at advanced bodybuilders, advanced powerlifters, when this is studied, it just doesn't cause more muscle growth. What it does do is beat you up more. So it's not even about training hard, because you can do more work if you don't. You stop short, you can get more quality sets in. So which one's training harder? Right? Which one is really hardcore? Maybe the one who's getting the most quality work and then recovering from it. I think that's more hardcore. I think that's training harder and smarter. Just my opinion. Says me. So, again, the point is, there's no reason to be training to failure. It's not benefiting you for the most part. And by saying that, it's not being a pussy or anything else, because you guys see I train pretty damn hard. I put up all my training vlogs, right? I train hard. I don't train to failure, other than on occasion. I don't intentionally do it. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.